to Provider Talks, where providers talk. My name is Donise Keller. We are so happy to be with you again. This is episode number 3. We're doing it, ladies. I'm going to pass it to Anita.
Hi. Happy, well, I don't know what day you're going to see this, so happy whatever day it is, y'all. Anyways, I'm Anita Vicini. I'm super happy you guys are checking in once again. I really hope you're enjoying it. So I'm going to pass it to Miss Zoila.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here again. And yes, good morning, good night, good evening. We don't know what time you're watching us. Hopefully you're just, listening to us while you're probably cooking or something, or the children are napping. Yeah, that'd be nice. But don't stop watching us because we want to continue doing more episodes, and I hope you're enjoying it. Zoila Carolina here.
Hey, girl. All right. Today's episode, it's going to be a really good conversation. Of course, we're saying that because we're talking, right? But no, this is a really, it's a really important topic that I know all of you have experienced. It's bringing sick children to childcare. Okay? We all know, right? We all know don't do it, but how often does it happen, right? Before we get into today's conversation, I want to show you a skit, a hilarious skit. First of all, her name is Kimmy the Daycare. She is hilarious. So take a look. Let me share the screen.
Come on, sweetheart. Good morning. Good morning. Oh. Oh, no, baby. Not with that cough. He's fine. He has allergies. Allergies in April with a high fever. It's teething. He's 4. Oh. That cough just paid rent in my lungs. I cannot miss work. And I can't expose 10 other kids to whatever is going on right here. But he said he wanted to come. He also said he was Spider-Man yesterday. We can go by his judgment. Listen, I cannot miss work for every little cough or little fever. Sick kids belong at home. If your child is limping, hot, coughing, sneezing, suspiciously sleepy, he needs to be at home. Bye.
Enough said, right? Suspiciously sleepy. I love it. I love it. So sick kids coming to childcare. It happens every day, all the time. We all know the rules. If they have well, that's why we do the wellness checks. Let's start there. Providers need to make sure that they're continuing to do wellness checks at the door. COVID is gone, but childhood illnesses are not going anywhere anytime soon. So just as she did, the temperature should be at the front door. You need to assess them, have conversations with them, walking in the door. Hey, how are you doing? How did you sleep last night? And we all know children, they overshare, right? They're going to tell everything. So, Zoila, what else do you want to add?
Well, the thing is that, children do overshare, but there will be this time that also the child is feeling great. Why? Because they gave him medication before they dropped them in. So there will be times that we're not going to even notice that until like 4 hours into the day, because the child, and have you noticed, but as soon as the temperature drop, even with my own kids, temperature drop, they're jumping like nothing. They're up and going with their life and playing and doing whatever. And then suddenly when this temperature start kicking back in, you're like, oh, they start getting, again, like tired and sleepy and all that. So this is when we're like, we have to call the parents. And what happened, Anita, when we call the parents?
They can't make it. Or I get it. I get it. As a parent, it's hard. It's hard. They can't miss work, right? Like if you miss too much work, you get in trouble. Some places you can get fired if you miss too much work. I get it. But you're at risk of getting everybody else in the childcare sick, right? So now those parents are also missing work. And you're at risk of getting me sick. If I'm sick, then nobody has childcare because I'm closed.
Right.
Because it's my husband and I that do our childcare together. So, but he can't do it by himself. I can't do it by myself. If one of us gets sick, we close. And now you've affected everybody. And guess what? You still have to take the day off work.
There it is.
Maybe more because now you're sick, right? So now you have to be well before you open the doors. So now it's not going to be 1 or 2 days, maybe even longer. And then
Well,
the
'cause
rest
I'm
of the
old.
children get sick.
Yeah, I'm old. So I mean, I get, it takes a little
Look
longer to
good.
heal the older you get. So
I can't with you. You guys know I'm the oldest one in this group, but I'm going to move on from that. So one of the issues that I have is, like we said, the parents, when they know they've dropped them off, they try to mask it with medicine. And it's always allergies. Or for an infant, it's always teething, And I get it. Like Anita says, you can't miss work. But let's just be real. Most infants from 0 to 5, they're going to catch everything under the sun. They haven't been exposed to the viruses that are out there, so they're going to get sick. It's nothing that we're doing wrong. They could be out anywhere and catch something, They could be at Target. They could be at a friend's birthday party, and now they've got something. And the sad thing is, they're risking taking it and bringing it into our environment, which I have a huge, huge problem with. You guys go ahead. I want to share a story later, but go
I
ahead.
was going to say, let me share something real quick. The parents always think it comes from daycare.
Always, they
It
blame us.
always comes from daycare. I had a parent that her father passed away, so she took the week off. She called me midweek and said, "Hey, who there has strep throat?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Nobody's had strep throat. Like everybody's been healthy, happy. Well, little so and so, he's not feeling well." And I'm thinking, "You haven't been here for 7 days. Like it didn't have you
Wow.
kept him in a bubble all 7 days? You haven't seen anybody else. Like you said, you didn't go to the grocery store. You didn't go to Walmart. You didn't, right? I love that. Love it. It's always
No,
from our house. No matter what, it's always from our house.
but that's why it's also very important to educate the parents. And when it comes to enrollment, you have to sit down and make this policy very, very clear from the very beginning. One of the things that I do, and I share in one of the classes that we provide for providers, it's that it's very good. I always put the reference of the Title 22 code in there. Because of this title, we need to follow this regulation, because sometimes, the parent thinks that, oh, I still have to pay the provider for the sick day, but they don't want to take care of my child. And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that we have policies and regulation that we need to follow, because we need to also isolate your child when it's sick. So we cannot have your child in one corner over there, the poor child, because he's not feeling well. Now we need to assign an assistant, a worker to be there. What about the rest of the children that we still are in charge of? We still need to work with and provide quality care. So now you're taking away, not providing quality care for the sick child, that we are not doctors, that we are not nurses, and many come with those they left the field. Anita, I think, have worked in paramedics before and all that. Well, you might have the knowledge, but we're still responsible for the rest of the children. And if something goes wrong with a child, we're liable. So there's a lot that we have to teach the parents when it comes to that. So please, providers, look into that Title 22 reference 102417. I love to give numbers here. And then
What?
Statistician, that's our
Say it
girl.
again. Say it again. 1024.
17. That's the code,
17.
the Title 22. But it goes into that Section A and C. So it goes to different, but at least to start from then, it's gonna break it down for you because it that's where the policy comes, and put it there in your contract, so the parent don't feel that you are not. You don't want to work. You don't want to work. No, it's not that. It's like you get sick, the children get sick. Now it's a domino effect in the day.
It is a domino effect. Mm-hmm.
And we are responsible for the health and human services. We're also responsible to contain the spreads.
That's why we have to isolate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have had families where I'm like, nope, they need to get picked up, and I need a doctor's note before you bring them back. I ask for a doctor's note that says they're not contagious. Now, I ask that because no doctor is going to know or have any idea of how long a child is contagious, right? So the doctor will keep them off for the typical amount of time that whatever illness it is should be contagious. So if, let's say they call everything a virus. Let's say it's a virus. They'll keep them off for a day or two, and then they'll say they can come back. But I always ask about the contagious part. I had a parent that called me and said, Miss D, what did you want the doctor's note to say again? I'm on the phone with the doctor, a video call. So they didn't take the child in, but they're having a video call, and they're asking me, what did I want the doctor's note to say? Stop. I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I want to know that your child is well enough to be here. I want to know that your child is not going to get the other children sick, and whatever they have isn't contagious. So, yeah, I have an issue with the doctors who are willing to write whatever they think we want to hear. That's not okay. The doctors say whatever you want to hear, but then they're still allowing the children to come back. I had a provider friend who the child was 2 years old and had pink eye, and said that they can come back the next day. And it wasn't even over 24 hours. How are you going to get a 2-year-old to not rub their eyes? They're still contagious. Okay, so again, the doctors can write a note telling us whatever we want to hear, but it doesn't mean that they're acting in our best interests. That's why we have to be the advocates for our businesses. That's why we have to set policies that say, nope, with pink eye, you have to stay home for 3 days, whatever the case may be, and we get to do that. We have the autonomy over our businesses and the authority to make those decisions. That's what providers need to know.
And also for the rest of the families, when the children, we advocate. Now you don't want to miss work, but then the rest of the other parents here are also going to end up missing work. And also there are a lot of things, vomiting can be contagious. Diarrhea is contagious.
Mm-hmm. Viral. It's all viral. Mm-hmm.
It's contagious. So it's like there are a lot of things, and we don't know what exactly it is. It could be upset stomach for whatever reason. I don't know what the child had less dinner with you at home, but we don't know. It could be various things.
Yeah.
And with children, it's even harder to diagnose certain things because they cannot express themselves. They cannot let the doctor know, I feel this, I feel that,
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things. And that's why we have to be very, very careful with opening the doors to the child. Yes, I'm with Anita on that. I before entering the field, I had to deal with that. And then back in the day, 15 years ago, and you guys been here longer than me, the policies when it comes to work were even more strict. Now, there are labor laws that protect the staff, but it's still a lot of the time, they're not going to tell you, I'm letting you go because you miss a lot of work. They're just going to let you go for whatever other reason that can apply so they don't get sued back.
Mm-hmm.
But it will affect you. So I understand that the parents are dealing with a lot, but
Sure.
safety of, the safety of your child and the safety of other children. What about they have seizures because the temperature is so high and we cannot give them medication?
Febrile
So-
seizures. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so let me bring something up. How do you guys deal? First of all, we know that your sickness policy should be in your handbook, right? Should cover
Right.
everything. We've got a provider that we have worked with that her handbook, her sickness policy is how many pages?
13?
6 or 7? Oh, it's
13.
13.
13
Her
pages.
handbook itself is like 30 or 40 pages. It's crazy, but she covers everything. She's very, very good.
Very
Um,
thorough.
So let me ask you, how do you guys do it when it's a family? So if little Johnny is sick, do you let little Susie still come to daycare? Or do you keep the whole family out? Because
Wow.
I mean, to me, right?
Mhm.
Because if they're in the same household, she's still around him, so she's still a carrier, right?
She is. She is.
My thinking is mom's already home. My parents normally have the grandparents, step in and watch the kids so that they don't miss so much work. We actually have some pretty healthy kids, but we also have multiples in our families. We've got a couple families where there's 3 kids in the family. So if one is sick, do we keep all 3 of them out or just the one?
You can't legally tell one of them they can't come. So unless they're displaying symptoms, they have the right to come. Zoila, you were going to say something, but I want to tell you a story about that same scenario. Go ahead.
But that would be ideal, right? To stay, because it's a domino effect. And also it depends on the immunity of each child. Some, like we all human, right? Some children will be more easy to show signs and symptoms and will rest. Other ones will deal with it and might not even show signs of illness.
It's true.
And they just carrying the virus, just spreading the virus, and then that's it. And usually, when you're showing the signs of illness, you started getting sick days before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like, oh, you are in the peak point right now. No, you had it 2 days, probably 24 hours before, even more, right? You had it and you just already, many other children probably already got it. And in the house, it's going to be the same thing. So it will be the ideal, but yeah, we cannot do that also, because if the parent has 3 children, imagine how many days the parent's going to miss of work now, because they're like, one child got sick, took off, and then the other got better, and then the other one got sick, and now it's like, it is very difficult on the parent. But let's share your anecdote, Donise.
So it was a family of 3. That's the magic number for today, apparently. And one of them, the oldest one, had pink eye. It's always pink eye, right? And they were school age. And so the mother, okay, first of all, when we're talking about policies, the policy is to bring your children to the front door. The mother kept the oldest home, who had pink eye, and the middle child was also school age. But the mother drops off the youngest, who's preschool, and the middle child. She was at the curb, okay? Had the 2 children ring the doorbell, and she was, okay, see you later, and took off. Okay? Didn't ask me, could I keep the school age? I was livid. And I'm calling all day long, calling 4 times. Didn't answer the phone, not once, until 5:30ish to say that they were on the way. And I'm like, so you kept the other school age home from school because you knew the oldest had pink eye, but you brought them both here. And I go, what you told me was you didn't care about our environment. You didn't care about the other children that were potentially exposed. You thought it would be okay to just drop them off here. You didn't answer your phone all day long. And you left these your two children that have been potentially exposed. It was just so livid. And I had one of those very real conversations. You need to do better. I said, there is no way that if we have your children, you don't pick up the phone all day long. That's not okay.
And that's why it's very important, even when it comes to the policies, that you ensure that that's put in the handbook. Yeah, this one is for the handbook, that they need to drop the child to the door, to the gate.
It was. Keep going. It was, though.
Yeah. Because but I'm saying it for other ones that don't, because this happens. And I'm like, then the parent, they decide not to answer the call. And that also, when you stipulate that they need to be dropped at the door, and in case they do what they did to Miss Donise over here, what you can do is call those on emergency list and come and get them. Instead, if you don't comply and drop the child by the main gate, and you hand out, or whoever is dropping off the child at that moment, to make sure that have one-on-one with the provider or with the assistant or the worker that is going to receive the child, we're going to call somebody on the emergency list to be picked up, because we have to do the screening, and you were not here during that screening
On purpose.
Why you do that? And then you don't answer the phone. I'm like, that is subject for
CPS?
something. No, not necessarily, but I think you can. You know what? No, you didn't handle it. Why did they walk
At
by
all.
themselves? Who dropped the kids? No, you have to put it very clearly. You have to put your foot down, just because it's safety. It's safety. It's a lot of things. What about the child is there ringing the doorbell, for a amount of time while you're maybe changing a diaper or something, and it takes a
Right.
little, the child is just there at the door. There's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration. So, and you have to be very specific. And like, that's with the 17 pages or 13 pages, I think.
But you ladies know I'm very thorough as well, very specific. I said, everyone needs to be walked to the front door for their wellness check. You need to obviously be available, if we have your children. It was just the whole point of that, people do what they want to do, and we suffer the consequences, and it's not okay.
But what did you end up doing? What did you end up doing in that? Because here's what I would do. First of all, I tell my parents, if I have your child, you need to answer the phone. I get that you might not be able to answer the phone right away, but within 15 to 20 minutes, you need to get back with me. And in that time, I'm calling the dad or the mom, whichever one I called first, right? So the opposite. I'm going down the emergency list. But what if I've had a parent do that just kind of ghost you, because they know their kid's sick. They know you want them to come pick them up. But what if it was an actual, really bad emergency?
Yes.
And you didn't answer? Well, guess what? So I have it in my handbook that the order that we go in is you, the spouse, so both parents, your emergency contacts, CPS. If there's an emergency and I cannot get a hold of you, and nobody on your list is answering the phone, CPS is the next phone call. Now, it's not, CPS isn't the phone call for boogers, right? Let's be honest. It is an emergency like that, but sometimes just saying it that way gets them to be like, oh crap, I need to answer the phone, right? Because emergencies happen, and they can happen at any time, at any place.
Yeah.
Not that we ever expect an emergency to happen, but God forbid something does and that parent doesn't answer the phone. That's my policy.
I'm adding that to my policy. I love it. I learned something new today.
Yeah, just telling them, if you do not answer the phone, it is your responsibility to answer the phone. I'm not calling you just to chit chat, people.
No.
I'm not calling you at work to say, hey, how's it going? Like little Johnny painted with his boogers on my wall today. I am calling because there's something happening with your child that you need to know about, or you need to come pick them up. There's a situation happening, right?
By the way, you guys, little Johnny is not an actual child in Anita's care.
No.
She just likes using little Johnny.
Little Johnny, little Susie. I try not to use real names.
Yes.
The little Johnny's fake. There's a little Johnny somewhere, but he is not in my group.
So what were you going to say?
I do have that in my policy, but yeah, for the scenario that Donise shared, I was not gonna call CPS, but there will be an emergency, a point, or even the parent. You never know if the parent got into an accident,
Yeah.
and
And I
that's why
was concerned.
yeah, it was supposed to pick up the child at 5. It's 6, they don't come. It's 7, they don't come. It's 8, they don't come. Like then at that point, yeah, you need to start going through the emergency list, and somebody needs to respond for the child. Because see, you're not supposed to keep children in care for 24 hours.
Oh no.
Continuously. So there has to
Yep.
be a point that you have to pay attention to. There's so many regulations that you might be breaking, or that need to be on top of. So that's why it's like you have to call the authorities to handle that situation.
Yeah.
They might be able to get in contact with somebody that is not an emergency list that they be able to release the child to, because you cannot just release it to anyone. It's only the people on the emergency list.
Right.
Regulation is 23 hours. You cannot have a child in your care longer than 23 hours at a time.
Correct. There is no such thing as 24-hour care. Does anyone else have any other sick stories that need to be? Oh, I have one. I'm sorry. So I had this family again. The mom says, "Oh, it's it's allergies," and when it persisted, I go, "It's allergies. Have you given them allergy medicine?" "Oh, no. Now it's asthma." Okay. Now, I have asthma, so I get that asthma is not always viral, right? I drink cold water, and it triggers my cough. So I get that. The mom sent the child to school with an inhaler, and it did not sound like asthma to me. And I also said, I don't remember asthma being in his chart. So I went and looked it up, and she had given us the instructions to give the child a pump every 4 hours. And when I went to the file, there was no asthma. So I instructed my staff, do not give him the pump every 4 hours. And then I contacted the mother and I said, I need a doctor's note saying that your child has asthma. I didn't get a doctor's note that day. And I asked every day. I pushed the issue. Doctor's note, did you get the doctor's note yet? I go, if it's asthma, it's going to be in their chart. So, something that says they have asthma somewhere. The prescription, in their name, something. And the mother said one day, I'm still working on editing the doctor's note. Huh? Yes. Editing.
Oh my God.
I don't want anything edited. So when I finally got the doctor's note, the doctor says, no, your child does not have asthma. Now, can you imagine this parent wanted
Inhaler.
the inhaler was for an older sibling.
Wow.
So if you don't have a medication policy in place that requires signatures from the doctors whenever prescription medication is given, you could be held liable for messing up a child's lungs, even though the parent asked you to.
No.
They will do anything to keep their child, to bring them to childcare.
That is why you have to be careful, because we are not supposed to give an over-the-counter medication just by a request of the parent. You need to have a prescription from the doctor, a doctor's note with the child's name, label, everything. It has to come in that container because, when it comes from the doctor, it comes with the child's name, the dosage, that's everything that you need to give it. It's there. And it comes with the doctor's note. It will tell you how to give them the dosage.
Administer.
Administered. Yes, thank you. So that's why you have to go for the, it's 10/24/17 9. Please look it up.
Our statistician, our resident statistician. I love you, girl.
Yeah. And it's the other one is 1024-17G10. So yeah, there are a lot of policies that you have to keep in mind before doing that. You're not making a favor to the parent. You might be hurting the life of this child. That's the problem that it comes to all this. There's no favors in this business when
No.
it comes to taking care of the children's well-being and also hurting your reputation in your business as well.
You have to protect yourself. Because that mother could have had me liable for really messing up that child's lungs.
And as licensed providers, we have to abide by all those Title 22 rules and regulations.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a medical plan in place if you
Yeah.
have an asthmatic or
Mm-hmm.
somebody who needs an epinephrine pen. There's forms. It's not just a doctor's note. You have
There's
to have
forms.
forms. So if you go to the, I always type in ccld.ca.gov and then it takes me where I
Mm-hmm.
need to go. But
There's
go
a
to
nebulizer form. Mm-hmm.
Yep, go to forms, go to licensing LIC, and you can go down that list and there will be a form. If state licensing comes in and they see an inhaler in that child's name and you do not have the proper documentation, the proper forms in your paperwork, in your
Yeah.
files for the child, you're going to get a citation.
You're in trouble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else have any good stories?
No, I don't.
Horror
but
stories? I don't know about good, but horror stories?
No, but the reality is, the reality comes that parents don't understand that if a social worker come and they see you that you're not complying with that, there's a child sick and why you have the child isolated? Oh, because it's sick, because that's what they asking you are to isolate the child. But then it's like, oh, what time the parents coming? Social services sits in our homes, in our program,
Wait.
3 to 4 hours. And then it's still there sitting and that child hasn't gone home, something is wrong. You're in trouble. Not the parent, not the parent. You're in trouble because the child shouldn't be there. That's why I stipulate in your handbook how many, 1 hour, 30 minutes, depending. The parent give you the information, even how far they work, where they work. So like that, you can make up also how much time you're going to give the parent to make it to your program. That is reasonable.
Yeah, because
So
living in LA where you live, they might work 10 miles away, but it might be an hour drive, right?
Yeah.
For me, up in a rural community, a 10 miles away is a 10 to 15 minute drive. So yeah, you can give some leeway personally, right, of how much time they have, but they can also make arrangements so that if they can't make it within that hour time, somebody is closer and maybe Grandma Gigi comes, or
Yeah.
I don't have a Grandma Gigi either, by the way. Anytime you hear me say names, I'm just making stuff up.
Well, it's easier to speak about children when you're referring to a child's name because it's just it's a lot easier to have the conversation. But yeah, it's a real situation, and that's what we watched this skit earlier because it's we laugh at the same time, but it's serious matters too, right? It's like it is a serious matter, and we deal with this on a daily basis.
But that's where building your relationships with your families really helps out too.
That's good.
Having those relationships, and not just at the front door relationships, but having those good relationships with your families really makes a difference. Really makes a difference because now they know you personally, right? And maybe that works for me because I'm in a smaller community that we have a good family childcare community for our daycare itself. But getting to know your families and letting them get to know you, like they don't need to know everything, and I sure the heck don't need to know everything what's going on with them.
Nope.
But having some kind of good community with my families really makes a difference with that. Because they know that I would much rather have their kid healthy and happy and in my daycare. I'd much rather have that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also can't get everybody else sick. And I have babies.
Right?
I've got a 10-month-old, but ladies,
Mhm.
I just had I had a mama have twins 2 weeks ago,
Bless her
and
heart.
another mama, and another. Oh, these are number 4 and 5 for her. I said, "You're done, right?" Like done,
Woo!
done. Yeah. She's like, "Oh my God." And then I have a parent that just had a baby on Friday. So I'm gonna, by September, when my older kids, well, I shouldn't say older, when my kids start moving on to TK and kindergarten,
Mhm.
my 3 new babies are coming in. Well, guess what? They don't have that immune system. So
They don't.
I understand that little Johnny is not feeling well today and that he's got a bit of a fever.
Hmm.
He's got a stomach bug. He's got something. But little Susie here, she's 3 months old. She doesn't have that same immune system. She doesn't
Right.
have all those shots yet to help protect her.
Hmm.
We as a community need to protect these babies.
Yeah.
So let's keep little Johnny at home. Let's see if grandma can help out and watch him today, and we can go from there. So,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's having that community.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, building that relationship, it does help. It make a huge difference. And
mhm.
also, and I know many of us don't have, nursing degrees or anything or certifications here, but we have become really good at reading when a child is sick because that child is spent with us all day, 10 hours a day, more likely, right? So we
Right.
know when something it's not well because the baby start not eating if we have a great appetite, right?
Hmm.
Or sitting there and trying to rest, doesn't want to get up after nap, but it's probably awake, but it's lingering there. So I'm like, that
Or
baby
they
Johnny
maybe just want to snuggle with you, you
it's
know?
it's it's not well. We know that, and that I luckily I haven't had that many incidents with parents. The only thing that I do tell your baby's not might be coming to something but I cannot send them home, like we said, because it's not showing fever, not showing sign. It's just that you can see that it's not themselves, it's not having fun, it's not running, it's not active. So that's why you're like something is happening. And yeah, 2-3 days later, you will know that the baby stayed home because the baby was coming.
Yeah.
So that's why like we do learn and we tell them in advance, like, please pay attention because if
yep.
it's try to keep them at home. We don't want everybody else to get sick. But there are times that they don't show it fully until 2-3 days later. So it's really, really hard.
Yeah. So we just advise everyone have a really strong sick policy, have a medication policy to protect yourself. Always do the wellness checks, PAC policies where they walk children to the door. All of these policies aren't just to make up pages, in your program. It's to protect you. It really
Cover
is
your
to
butt.
protect you. That part.
Yeah.
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 That part.
And have those policies, have those forms. Make sure you look up those forms and have the right forms file on each a child's file.
Yes.
Make sure they're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ladies, is there anything else you want to add to this episode?
Boogers happen, and we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them. We have, like you said, these kids are always teething. They'll teeth for 8 years, it seems like. Oh, they're teething. They're teething. It's allergies. It's allergies. They're teething.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, my God, they got
They
a lot of
do.
teeth. Whew.
Anita,
Yeah.
they do teeth. They lose their by age 6, 7, they're losing them. So
The
they're
front
teething
teeth.
again by age
Yep.
8, girl.
I get
The
that,
second
but my
set.
God, it's not
Mm-hmm.
constant. It's
They
not, they
really
don't have
do.
sharp teeth. They don't have eight rows of
Hey,
teeth in their
Rose.
mouth. It's
Yeah.
like, holy snot, man. I get it. Like you said, I get it. I totally get it.
The
And you can tell the difference when we've done this long enough that
Mm-hmm.
we know when a child is actually teething,
Right.
or it's not our first go around. We all have children of our own.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Mm-hmm.
got adult children. I've done this once or twice. I get it. So yeah,
Another.
everybody's just got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself, protect your business, protect all your families,
Mm-hmm.
not just the family of the sick child, all your families and all your children.
It really is about protection. Protecting the sick child, protecting the other children in your care, protecting yourselves, because like she said, if we close, then who's going to watch your children? So if the parents are willing to do their part, then we can all work together harmoniously. One more thing I want to bring up is never accept a child sleeping, like babies in car seats. As the story goes, and this is a true story, very sad but true, a parent brought in a child in a car seat and just said the child was sleeping. This was before wellness checks, before COVID, where we did the temperature checks upon arrival. And the baby was still sleeping, or so the provider thought, but the baby had passed away. So never ever accept a child sleeping. If, they're take them out of the car seat, put them in the playpen, they're going to stir, they're going to move, and then go back to sleep. You can rub them or pat them back to sleep, but you're going to feel the breath, you're going to feel the movement, the temperature. All of these things have to happen. So in the interim, while they were investigating when this child had passed away, the provider had to close her business. She lost income. I mean, it was found that the child had passed before the mother dropped them off. But all of the stuff the provider had to go through to exonerate herself. So
It's just traumatic. I mean, it's
yeah,
not, I mean, I'm sure hopefully the parent didn't know, my God. Hopefully the parent didn't realize it either, but how traumatic. Like I
right,
would be traumatized if I lost a child.
right.
Like even if it didn't happen, like they found out that it had happened before the child was even dropped off,
Hmm.
I would feel terrible. Like,
Right.
oh my God, I can't even imagine. We're not supposed to have kids in car seats anyways.
No.
So as soon as that child comes in, no matter what, you take them out because if the state walked in 2 minutes later, you're in deep doo-doo, right?
Exactly.
So you can't have them in the car seat anyways. Like Donnie
No, you
said, take them
cannot.
out. Take them out.
And
Give them some pats. Get
And
them
put them back.
stirring.
Yeah.
Even babies with our like 15-minute well checks, right?
Hmm.
yeah.
Look at them, and his babies are weird, folks. Like you have to really look at them sometimes, and then I'll like scrape their foot, like tickle their foot just to get them to move, and I'm like, okay, they're still breathing.
But that's why they
But you
have the
can't.
sleep log,
That's
right?
why we have a sleep log. But
You
that's what
have
I'm
to.
saying. Babies
Hmm.
are so like they breathe so shallow
They do.
anyways
They do.
that so you need to do that when kids come in, like Miss Donnie said, when children come into your care, you need to do the well check, make sure they're doing okay. Just even a quick little hug, you can feel if they're warm or if
Hmm.
they're, and with babies,
And
take them out of those seats and give them a quick rub on their back, just let them, oh, good morning. And as you're doing that, that baby will stir, or
Come
you
on.
will know if they're hot, or
Yep.
you will see something going on. So,
and you will find parents that will ask, "Oh, the baby sleep better in the car seat." You will find those patterns, but unfortunately, the younger the baby is, because in the seat, they have a little measuring thing that it has to align in a certain way. If it's not aligned properly, that means that you're putting too much pressure on the neck. The baby probably doesn't have the strength to stay up. So they might drop there and then they close the esophagus and not breathe.
isn't
So
your
there's
way.
a lot of,
Wow.
yeah, there are a lot of things that's what it's not just made up. These things that are not made up. They're a policy for a reason. There's a code
Yeah.
for a reason that we have to follow up. Just make sure that the baby safe, that you don't lose income, that you don't get in trouble, for all these things, for something that it can be easily prevented.
Preventable. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's so scary. And for me, it's not even losing the income or
No.
taking the time off. It's losing that child. Like
Yeah.
that would absolutely devastate. I
Devastating.
can't
Yeah.
even we have lost a child in our daycare.
Mm.
Not at home, not here in our house. Her and her mother were in a car accident on
Oh, wow.
Thanksgiving 6 years ago. So it happened outside of daycare, right? It still rocks us. Like
Right.
it's been 6 or 7 years now. And it's still, Thanksgiving is still hard because we're missing her.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
we still talk to the dad and to her brother, and is weird enough. Y'all know, I've told you I live in a rural community. This family was coming home from Thanksgiving at another family member's house. Dad was at work. Mom and brother and sister were coming down the mountain and hit a bear.
Oh.
Hit a bear. I told you I live in the dang country. Hit a bear. It killed the mom and the daughter instantly, and the son survived with very little injury to him. But that happened outside my house, and it still like devastated our whole childcare community, our whole daycare family. I cannot imagine a child passing away in my care.
No.
So like Zoila said, there's rules and regulations for a reason. Something like this has happened in a daycare, and that's why the rule is that we do
That's why
not
they,
leave them in
yeah.
car seats,
That's
or
why they
that we
got
do not
created.
let them sleep in swings. There's a reason
Mhm.
why we now have all the rules and regulations for the pools, because children have drowned, right?
Mm.
There's reasons. The state, sometimes we feel like they come up with all this stuff just to put more stuff on our plate, right?
No.
There's reasons why these rules and regulations keep coming out. Yes, it can be a pain in the bottom sometimes, but there's reasons. It's to protect us, and it's to protect the children that we care for.
Yeah, but some policies that we probably gonna talk in these podcasts that it needs to also be fixed and updated, because they're, they can be
Oh,
better
yeah.
for us and make our life a little bit easier because we have so much in our plate. But when I said about the financial part also, because imagine going through that emotional stress about
Yeah.
losing someone, but then you have to also deal with the financial burden of having a lawyer
Mm-hmm.
and not receiving income. It's a lot. It's a lot that you can go through. Sometimes for smaller things, you have to go through that financial burden from hiring lawyers and trying to fight, and the loss of income and all that. And on top of that, that your heart is broken because of the loss of that child. It's a lot. It can take a very emotional toll and financial toll on anyone. And that's what we're trying to have, all these kind of conversations, just for us to be more open-minded, and then, like, what, let me work a little bit more hard in this policy. Let me just bring this from the very beginning to the parents, so the parent don't feel that I'm just want to make it hard on there. No, we're just going to make it easier on all of us.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about a couple of different policies to add to your handbook. What we want you to do is write up those new policies, have an addendum to it, add it to your policy handbook, have the parents initial each policy stating that they have read it. These are ways that protect you as a provider. Anytime you create a new policy, have the parents initial it and add it to your contract or to your policy handbook. Okay? Great conversation today, ladies. Does anyone want to say anything to wrap it up, or we're good? Well, we thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Provider Talks. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Till next time. Bye.